Anelle and Jihoon, Part 41. Cradled in her arms was the tiniest miracle she had ever seen, wrapped in a cream hospital blanket, eyes closed, breath steady, heartbeat gentle like a whisper. Jihoon sat at her side, unmoving, as though any shift might disturb the perfection of the moment. His gaze never left the baby's face. Anelle looked up at him, her voice a fragile ribbon of sound. "He's really here." Jihoon nodded slowly, his throat tightening. "He's perfect." They sat in silence for a moment, overwhelmed, emotions pressing against their chests. Then Jihoon whispered, "I've been thinking about the name. You remember what I told you back then?" "If he's a boy," Anelle's eyes softened, a slow, knowing smile forming on her lips. "Daijin." Jihoon nodded, emotion flickering behind his eyes. "It was my father's name. He was strong, loyal, and deeply human. I want our son to carry that legacy, to rise above the pain and lies that tried to surround his birth." Anelle gently pulled the baby closer to her chest. "Then Daijin it is." Just then, a soft knock came at the door. A tiny head peeked in. It was Sion. "Can I come in?" he asked quietly. Jihoon smiled. "Of course." Sion tiptoed in, climbing onto the bed with careful grace. He looked down at the baby in Anelle's arms with awe. "He's really small," he murmured, then straightened proudly. "But I'll protect him." Anelle looked at him with love. "You're already the best big cousin." Sion leaned in gently and placed the dolphin plush beside the baby's tiny hand. "He can borrow it until he gets one of his own." Jihoon felt his chest tighten, his breath shallow. The sight of them, his son and the little boy who had saved his heart long before he realized it, made his eyes burn. "I'll make sure he knows who stood by him first," Jihoon said, placing a hand on Sion's head. "Thank you, champ." The room, just for a moment, felt like a world all its own. Then came a soft knock. The nurse stepped inside, a folder in hand. Jihoon sat up. "Mr. Han," she said kindly, handing over the paperwork, "everything is in order. You're cleared for discharge." Jihoon stared at the papers, the weight of it settling deep in his chest. Home, safety, a place where his family could breathe, where Anelle could heal, where Daijin's first moments could unfold without flashing cameras and whispered conspiracies. He exhaled. "It's time," he murmured. Anelle reached for his hand, squeezing it gently. And outside, the world was raging. But inside, Daijin had arrived, and everything had changed. Before they left the hospital, his phone buzzed. The name on the screen made him straighten immediately. Grandfather. He stepped into the hallway and answered with quiet respect. "Halabeoji," he said. The elder's voice came through low and firm, carrying the solemn weight only age and wisdom could deliver. "I heard. The child has been born?" Jihoon swallowed, his throat tight. "Yes, a son. His name is Daijin." There was a pause, then a soft exhale, like wind rustling through dry leaves. "You honor your father," the old man said. "I am proud." Jihoon felt something shift deep in his chest. His grandfather rarely spoke such words. The elder continued, his voice unwavering. "The child must be blessed. I will travel tomorrow morning with the ancestral scroll and ceremonial tools. Prepare warm water infused with juniper and white camellia. The ritual must take place before the moon rises 14 times. Jihoon's brows knit together. "You want to perform the ritual here?" "No," his grandfather replied. "At the Han estate, where your father was blessed, where your name was first written into the book of blood." A beat of silence passed. "And Anelle, she is to be included in the circle. She must witness it with open eyes. As the mother of the bloodline, her presence is no longer a request." Jihoon nodded slowly, moved and solemn. "I understand." That evening, after Sion had fallen asleep curled at the foot of their bed, and Daijin rested peacefully in his crib beside them, "Do you believe in old things?" he asked softly. She looked at him. "What kind of old things?" "Traditions." "Why?" Jihoon leaned forward, elbows on his knees. Because my grandfather is coming, tomorrow morning, with the sacred scrolls. He wants to perform the ritual of the Moonchild. She blinked. Moonchild? It's an old rite, practiced only by the eldest bloodline in our family. A blessing ceremony held before the newborn sees the full moon. It's meant to protect him from envy, betrayal, and illness. Does he see our child that way? He said you must be there, not as a guest, as part of the circle. Anelle looked down at her cup, then over at the crib. What does the ritual involve? She asked softly. It's simple, but sacred. The baby is bathed in juniper-infused water under an open sky. The elder then anoints him with crushed white camellia. A name is whispered to the wind. And 3 blessings are spoken aloud. One from the father, one from the mother. He looked at her with emotion tightening in his throat. And one from the ancestors. She placed her hand over his. Then we'll do it. For him. Later that night, the tension with Auntie Zola Anelle found Auntie Zola in the sitting room, folding some of Dajan's new clothes. Her expression was soft, but focused. Anelle began. I need to tell you something. Zola looked up. Yes, baby? Jihoon's grandfather is coming tomorrow. He wants to perform a traditional blessing for Dajan, a family ritual. Zola paused. The fabric in her hands froze mid-fold. What kind of ritual? A cultural one, Anelle replied gently. Juniper water, anointing, ancestral blessings. Zola's eyes narrowed. So, not baptism? No. Zola stood up, voice slightly raised. Anelle, that's not Christianity. The child needs to be baptized, not covered in ancestral oils and whispered over under a tree. That's not how we do things. Anelle took a breath, steady and calm. I know. I didn't like it either at first. But Auntie, I loved Jihoon knowing he wasn't a Christian like us. He respects tradition. He's never forced it on me. And now I have to learn to meet him in the middle. Zola frowned. Meeting in the middle should not mean compromising your spirit. I'm not compromising, Anelle replied firmly. I'm choosing, and I need you to respect that. Please. Zola looked at her for a long moment. Her heart ached, not because Anelle had changed, but because she was changing in ways that didn't wait for her blessing. Zola walked to the corner, quietly dialing her husband back in South Africa. He answered quickly, cheerful. Zols, how's my little lion cub doing? She's growing wings, Zola muttered. What happened? Zola explained. The ritual, her discomfort, Anelle's new strength. He chuckled gently. Zola, don't pressure her too hard. She's not a little girl anymore. She's a woman, a mother. And Jihoon, he might look soft, but I'm telling you that man is no joke. He might even be the next king for all we know. Zola stayed silent. Let Anelle learn to choose. She will return to what she knows is right, but not by fear, by faith. Then with warmth, he added, by the way, congratulations. I'll call her tomorrow myself. And maybe, just maybe, you'll come back soon. I miss you. Zola's lips curled into a reluctant smile. I miss you too. She looked out the window toward the moonlit garden, hands clasped in thought. And for the first time that week, she let go.